Stuka Joe here. Today we'll be filming one full bombing mission in Zeppelin Raider. And before we begin, I just want to let you know that all but 2 of the dice rolls will be, let's say, authentic. In order to ensure that we select a bombing mission, we need an odd result in the mission assignment chart. So we will roll until we get that odd bombing result. And in order for our Zeppelin to take off from the base where it is, we need the weather to be anything but rain. In this game, Zeppelins that are stationed in Nordholz can take off with rain weather, but our Zeppelin is in Tondern. So to ensure its takeoff, we will roll until we get a result from 1 to 4. So with that caveat, now let's proceed with the playthrough of this bombing mission. Here we see the map for our P-class Zeppelin. Our crew is a trained crew. And we have all our 3 crew boxes. We will not leave any crew for more ballast. Our commandant has the rank of Oberleutnant ZC. And our Zeppelin begins, of course, on the ground. So we're ready to begin. We'll be using the sequence of play cards to guide us along. The first stage is Mission Mechanics. We flip the first card and it is Mission Assignment. And we will be rolling on the Mission Assignment chart, and we locate the column corresponding to our date. We're in May 1915. We roll 2d6. The result is a 5, a bombing mission over London, and there is a P in parentheses. That means that we will be transporting a valuable passenger. So we place a bombing mission marker over our target, and we place a marker in the passenger box of our Zeppelin display, and it is Peter Strasser. He's the Commander-in-Chief of Zeppelin operations for the German Navy. He does not confer us any benefits, but if somehow he gets killed or severely wounded, our mission fails no matter what. So now we go to Takeoff Weather Check. We locate the spring column and we roll 1d6 to see what's the initial weather. The roll is a 3 and it is light rain. And we place the light rain marker in the current weather box of the map. And notice that light rain has a -1 notation. It will decrease our altitude by 1, of course, unless we drop some ballast to counteract that. But first we have to load our Zeppelin. And we can carry bombs and incendiaries. The route to London takes us over 5 areas. That is important in our calculations of fuel and ballast. We have 3 parachute flares, which are helpful to navigate during the nighttime. We have a baseline of 4 points of bombs. We will carry 3 bombs. That leaves us with 1 bomb point left. And instead of 1 bomb, we will carry 2 incendiaries. Each incendiary counts as half a bomb. We start with our fuel at full and ballast also at full. We didn't have any leftover bomb points to convert into extra ballast. So now we are about to take off from our airfield, and now up ship, and we gain a level of altitude to level 1 because of dynamic lift. So we move our current altitude to 1. However, the light rain weather decreases our altitude by 1 unless we eliminate some ballast, and that's what we will do. So we will reduce ballast to 5, and that counteracts the effects of the light rain so that we can remain at level 1. Now we go to the flight sequence. We have 7 cards or steps in the flight sequence, and we begin with travel and adjust altitude. Positive thing for us is that light rain conditions do not include winds that can affect our flight. So we move from Tondern to Area D, and the movement of one area expends half a unit of fuel, so we flip our fuel marker to its backside and we have 7.5 units left. Now we can adjust altitude by dropping ballast. We will drop ballast to 4 to increase our altitude to level 2, and we're still in the low altitude band. Next is mechanical failure check. The Zeppelin is a very fragile aircraft, and we roll 2d6 to see if something breaks down. Fortunately, it's a 5 and everything's working for now. Next, we check for weather and wind change, and weather can change only once per mission. Current weather is light rain. We locate the column, which is the spring column, and we roll 2d6. The result is 6, no change. Next, we roll for possible encounters. We roll in the bombing encounters chart. 2d6. The roll is a 10, no encounters. We skip the bombing routine because we're not over target, there's no encounters and no repairs to be made. So again, to travel and adjust altitude. And we're 4 areas away from our target. So now we move into Area C. And we expend half point of fuel, and our fuel level is now at 7. Now we check to see if we want to increase altitude, and we will do so. So we will drop ballast to 3 to increase to level 3, and that is in the medium altitude band. When the Zeppelin enters at any band of medium or above for the first time, it will automatically vent. That is, we will lose some gas, and that is signified by placing a venting 1 marker in the first gas cell, and that will cause the Zeppelin to lose 1 level of altitude unless, of course, we drop some more ballast. And in this case, we will do so. So we will drop ballast, and we will have 2 units left, and that will allow us to remain at altitude 3. Next, mechanical failure check. We roll 2d6, and the result is a 4, and this time we have a gas cell leak. We place a leaking marker in the number 2 gas cell box, and we have this turn at the end to try to fix that leak. Otherwise, our Zeppelin will lose 1 unit of gas and descend 1 level. We have all of our crew boxes intact, and we will be rolling on this table at the end of the turn. But now we check for possible weather wind change, and we roll 2d6. The result is a 6, no change, and light rain still persists. Now we roll for encounters, and we roll 2d6, and the result is 7, no encounters. So we skip again the bombing routine and resolve encounters. Now we proceed to attempt repairs, and we will try to repair the gas leakage. We have 3 boxes of crew. We assign 1 of them, and we roll 1d6. The roll is a 2, and the leaking is halted. So we remove the leaking marker from the second gas cell, and we do not lose any altitude. So we remain at altitude 3. Next is travel and adjust altitude. We are 3 areas away from our target, so our Zeppelin moves now into Area B. Now we adjust fuel, and we have now 6.5 units left, and we're approaching the 5 mark, and when that happens, we'll gain 1 altitude. But first, mechanical failure check. We roll 2d6, and the roll is an 8. Nothing breaks down this time. Now we check for possible weather or wind change. And we roll 2d6. The result is a 7, light rain, but light rain is the present weather condition, so it is treated as no change. Now we roll for encounters. And the result is an 11, no encounters. We skip the bombing routine and resolve encounters and attempt repairs. And now we go back to travel and adjust altitude. We're only 2 areas away from our target, and now we move into the Norwich area. We spend fuel and we have 6 full boxes left. We will maintain our altitude at level 3. We still have 2 units of ballast in case some aircraft show up. On to mechanical failure check. And it is important that things don't start breaking down now. The roll is a 6 and nothing breaks down. Next, possible weather wind change. We roll 2d6 and the result is 7, light rain, but light rain is the present weather conditions, so it is treated as no change. And now we roll for possible encounters. We roll 2d6 and the roll is an 8, no encounters. We skip the bombing routine, resolve encounters, and attempt repairs, and go back to travel and adjust altitude. And now we have finally arrived over our target, London. Our fuel is reduced by half a point to 5.5 boxes. We maintain our current altitude at 3, and now we go to mechanical failure check. We roll 2d6, a 6, no breakdowns. Now to possible weather and wind change. We roll 2d6, 7, light rain, which is the conditions of weather that we have right now, so it is a no change. And now we roll for possible encounters. And the roll is a 10, no encounters. And now we're over target, we conduct our bombing routine. And to guide us through the bombing routine, we're going to use this bombing routine summary. First, we begin by rolling on the navigation chart to see if we locate a target. Here's the navigation chart. We need a 1 to 4 for success, and there's a +1 if it's raining or heavy rain, but there's only light rain, so light rain won't affect the roll. Also, we can use a parachute flare to reduce the die roll by 1, giving us a better chance, and we will do so. So we burn our first parachute flare. So now we roll on the navigation chart with a -1 die roll modifier. The result is a 6 modified to a 5, failure. And because we failed, we can spend another half box of fuel to retry, see if we can find a target, and we will do so. So now our fuel goes down to 5, and that +1 notation means that our altitude increases by 1, and that's the weight of the fuel that we have already burned. So our altitude increases to level 4. And we will try again to locate a target, and we will burn a second parachute flare. So we roll again on the navigation chart with a -1 die roll modifier. Again, a 6 modified to a 5, another failure. And we will try again to locate a target. Now we have to burn half a unit of fuel once again, so we're down to 4.5 boxes. And now we will use our last parachute flare. And again, we roll on the navigation chart with a -1 die roll modifier. And the roll this time is a 1, modified to 0. This is a success. And now we will roll on the target listing to see what is our target. Here we see the target listing for London, and it has 2 columns of 20 targets each, and the targets, of course, are varied. Only targets that have an asterisk count in order for the mission to be successful, and there are plenty of those targets around, as you can see here. Targets with a plus sign cause the player to lose a prestige point if they're bombed. Targets with the notation PP, on the other hand, provide the player with 1 prestige point automatically if they're bombed. And targets with an F notation suffer double damage if bombed by incendiaries. Because there are 40 possible results, 20 per column, we will roll 1d6, and on a 1 to 3 it will not add anything to the other die roll. On a 4 through 6 it'll add 20. So we roll both dice, and the result is a 10. And the target is the Victoria Terminus Railroad Station. It has an asterisk, so it counts for the mission to be successful. And now we choose how many bombs to drop. Of course, we will drop all bombs and incendiaries on this target. We're at an altitude of medium. That has an impact on the chances of hitting the target, as you see here in the Zeppelin bombing to hit chart. So we line up our bombs and incendiaries. We roll for the first bomb. The roll is a 10, so the first bomb is a miss. Now we roll for the second bomb, and the roll is an 8, also a miss. We roll now for the third and last bomb, and the roll is 11, also a miss. Now we roll for the incendiaries. First roll is a 3, so the first incendiary hits. Now we roll for the second and last incendiary, and it is a 2, it also hits. So now we roll for each of the incendiaries on the bombing damage chart, and there is a -1 die roll modifier for the previous navigation success. So we roll for the first incendiary, and the roll is a 3 modified to a 2, 1 point of damage. Now we roll for the second incendiary, and there's also a -1 die roll modifier for a navigation success. So we roll 1d6, and the roll is a 1 modified to a 0, 4 points of damage for a total of 5 damage points. And now we roll again on the navigation chart to determine if the Zeppelin runs off course, and if it does so, we may end up bombing a wrong target. So now we roll, and there's no parachute flare left, so we won't have that -1 die roll modifier this time. So we roll 1d6, and the roll is a 5. We are off course. And because we have run off course, we have to roll again on the target listing to see which target we actually bombed. It's not the Victoria Terminus Railroad Station, which is an asterisk target, which would have ensured success of the mission. We have to roll again to determine which target it is. So we roll again 1d6 and 1d20. The result this time is a 2. And our bombs fall on a whiskey warehouse, a target without an asterisk. So this mission is a failure, irrespective of how well we bombed that warehouse. Now we have to withstand 2 rounds of anti-aircraft fire, but first we have to roll for the enemy searchlights to see if they have us coned or spotted with unfavorable die roll modifiers. The roll is a 7, so neither apply. The applicable modifiers are those listed there. We're at medium altitude, it's 1915, and we're off course over a minor target. So there's a -2 die roll modifier. So we roll 2d6, and the roll is an 8 modified to a 6, and anti-aircraft fire is ineffective. Now we have to go through the procedure once again. So again we roll for the enemy searchlights, and the result is a 9, and we are not coned nor spotted. Applicable modifiers are the same as before, so we have a -2 die roll modifier. And we roll 2d6 once again. The roll is a 6 modified to a 4, and again it's ineffective. And now we roll for a possible random aircraft encounter. We roll 2d6. The result is a 7. No encounter. And now we skip the resolve encounters and attempt repair steps. To travel and adjust, we leave the area of London and move on to Norwich. We spend our half point of fuel, and now we're down to 4 boxes. We still remain at an altitude of 4. And now to mechanical failure check. And the roll is a 7. No malfunction. We check again for possible weather or wind change. And the roll is a 5. Rain. So now the weather changes from light rain to rain. We place a rain marker in the current weather box. And with rain weather comes wind that may affect our fuel expenditure if we're going against the wind. We roll 1d6. The roll is a 2, so we have a wind that is blowing towards the northeast. And luckily for us, we will be traveling in the direction of the wind, not against it. If it would have been otherwise, we would have to spend 1 full box of fuel per each area entered. Now, rain has an effect on altitude, -2. We were under light rain, which is -1, so the added weight forces us to reduce altitude to 3 unless we drop a unit of ballast, and that's what we will do. So we remain at altitude 3, and that's the end of all weather wind change checks in the game, and we will remove the card from the deck. Now we proceed to rolling for possible encounters. We roll 2d6, and the roll is a 2, possible encounter with an aircraft. And to go through the process, we will refer to this encounter with aircraft summary card. We first roll on the aircraft encounter chart to determine aircraft type and altitude. And we have to check to see the number after each aircraft type, that's the altitude at which it arrives, and the month after an aircraft's name is the month of the year that the aircraft was first available. So we roll 2d6, and the result is a 9, BE12, altitude 4, but available July 2015. We're in May, so that aircraft was not available at this time. So that is a no encounter. So now we skip the bombing routine, resolve encounters, and attempt repairs, and back to travel and adjust altitude. And our Zeppelin moves from Norwich to Area B. Now we spend half a point of fuel, and we have 3.5 boxes left. Next, possible mechanical failure. We roll 2d6. The roll is an 8. No mechanical failures. And next, we roll for encounters. And the roll is a 6. No encounter. We skip the bombing routine, resolve encounters, and attempt repairs. And we're back to travel and adjust altitude. And we move from our present location to Area C. Now we are just 2 areas away from our base. Now our fuel is down to 3 full boxes. Next, possible mechanical failure. We roll 2d6. The roll is a 9. No malfunctions this time. Now we roll for possible encounters. And the roll is an 8, no encounters. We skip bombing, resolving encounters, and attempting repairs, and we're back to travel and adjust altitude. And we're just 2 areas away from our base. And now we're at Area D. Now our fuel is at 2.5 boxes. Possible mechanical failure. We roll 2d6, and the roll is a 4, another gas cell leak. So we place a leaking marker again in cell number 2, and we have until the end of the turn to fix it, or we will reduce our altitude by 1. Next, we roll for encounters, and the roll is a 4, no encounters. We skip the bombing routine, resolve encounters, and we go to attempt repairs. We have all our 3 crew boxes, so we assign 1 to try to stop the leak. We roll on the repair table for the gas cell. The roll is a 2, and the leaking is again halted. So we remove the leaking marker, and we do not lose any altitude. Now, again, travel and adjust altitude. And now our Zeppelin finally reaches its base at Tondern. It had enough fuel, and now the Zeppelin is able to be pulled back and landed on the ground. And all our crew members are safe. Now we move on to post-flight sequence, refit Zeppelin. We refit our Zeppelin, but we don't lose a mission because there's not more than 6 systems damaged. There's actually none damaged. Next, check for awards. Here that doesn't apply either because we don't have enough prestige points for an award nor to upgrade to a new Zeppelin. The same happens with the Special Advances check, where every 5 missions that are successful, you can improve your crew or commandant. And mission success check. Here we check to see if our mission was a success. It wasn't because we did not land any bomb points on any asterisk target. The Whiskey Warehouse is not an asterisk target. So the mission was a failure, but our crew is alive and is ready for another mission in Zeppelin Raider. And this is a game designed by Gregory M. Smith and published by Compass Games in 2019. And I hope that this video has given you a good idea of the flow of the game and what the game has to offer. This is Stuka Joe, signing off for now. Thanks for watching.